Hey everybody, it's Bill Lavoie here from Shacknews, and today I am joined by two developers from The Angler. Call of the Wild The Angler, officially I think is the title, although I think we all just call it The Angler when we're just for short. I'm joined by Rushy and Thomas, and we're going to talk about the new reserve that's coming out, or depending on when you see this, it might already be out. That is in Spain. So we're going to dig into what you can find and expect in Spain and just get into some of the frequently asked questions that community members and players might have.
My name's Rushy, or formerly Poroshinsky, and I'm the game director on The Angler. Yes, we just do use the abbreviation, keep it nice and short. And I'm responsible for kind of the vision and the kind of quality of the game. So whilst I don't specifically get my hands on with Spain, I've been kind of guiding the team to ensure that it delivers on the kind of the quality and the kind of goals that we set for it initially.
Hi there, I'm Thomas. I'm a technical designer on The Angler. In Spain, I worked on a lot of the mission scripting, some of the designing, and also some of the fish work as well.
Excellent. And can one of you tell us a little bit more about Spain specifically, and maybe some of the highlights and the features of Spain that might be a little bit different or interesting compared to the other reserves?
First off, Spain is our third reserve. We're returning to Europe again for this location. It's officially called Aguas Claras Municipal. I think I probably butchered that, but it's my best attempt, and I cannot do a Spanish accent. I'm very sorry. And with this new reserve, we've got 16 fish species to catch, 11 of which are brand new to the game. We've got 3 new major story missions, over 40 fishing challenges, 20 gear challenges. We've got photo spots, collectibles. So it's packed with content. And we've got plans in the future for Spain as well. Because as you've seen with all of our previous reserves, we don't just release it and then we're done. We're reacting to feedback, we're adding more content to keep it fresh. And I think there's a lot of exciting things to not only make sure that players really enjoy themselves day one, but after you've bought it, longer term, still be playing it for months to come.
Yeah, are you kind of referencing what happened with Golden Ridge in terms of like going back and like reworking some of like the spawns and some of the adding in, I think, was it 8 new species to Golden Ridge?
Yeah, I think we've added a total of 8 new species inside there, and we're running various events and things in Golden Ridge Reserve, and we're planning to do similar things with Norway as well in the future. So yeah, we want to make sure that everything in the game is kind of fresh over time. We don't want to kind of have any one of our early reserves feel stale, or you don't want to go back to it. You've always just wanted to play it. So we want players to be playing on all of our reserves because we've got a great variety of fish, and you don't just want to be catching one fish species in one reserve. And I think we've done a good job of listening to the community, because as you mentioned, balancing is a big part of this kind of community-driven type game, and we want to make sure that every fish spawning in the right places and is balanced against the rest. So it's fun working with the community in this way.
Excellent. That was actually, I'm glad that you mentioned 16 new species and you said 11 were new, because that means my math is correct, because I checked out Spain yesterday, and of course I had the handbook open and I was checking out what's new and what's returning. So I won't need to ask you that question. It's 16 species in total, and 11 of them are only found in Spain as of right now, right?
That's right, yeah.
Now I want to kind of like to feed off of that. We know that people love to catch big fish. Are you able to talk about, even if you can't name it necessarily, but maybe the biggest fish in Spain and how that would compare to some of the bigger fish in the other reserves?
Yeah, we do. I think the biggest one would be the common carp. So our carp are our big fish in this reserve. I think they are maybe the biggest fish we have, like when you get to the large end, like the big guys. So yeah, they're quite beefy.
I caught a common carp yesterday. I think it was the first fish I caught in Spain was the common carp. And I think I had a silver, and I was like, okay, this is a decent size, like for a silver. Like it kind of surprised me. So I'm interested to see where we go with gold and diamond with that one. So that was
yeah, they get big.
They get big.
No,
huh?
no
Okay,
doubt
well
that's
cool.
And
That's very cool.
And that's without even considering what might come with legendaries in the future.
Yes, those are very exciting as well. We have a new reserve, and I'm just curious, are we getting any new gear with the reserve? And if we are getting any new gear, can you tease maybe what that would be? Is it cosmetics or actual angling gear?
Kind of, we're doing something similar to Norway, where we have like a mission that involves the NPCs, and with that you'll find some gear that you can use, and it's like reserve themed. So we have that. For future gear, you probably won't have to wait too long. It's a bit of a tease, but there's nothing else currently with this patch.
And some of the gear that you earned in Norway through the missions was actually some of the cooler gear that you can get in the whole game. It's very, very unique. So that actually segues perfectly into my next question, which was if you could get into the missions and activities and maybe even collectibles and things like that. I know that that's been something that both Norway and Golden Ridge had their own missions, and especially things with like you could collect certain things to earn reputation. Is that the same with Spain?
Yeah, it's the same with some twists. What's similar to Norway is we have sort of 3 kind of main missions, we call them. So they involve the NPCs, and they'll take you around to some cool points of interest around the map, and you'll hear dialogue and find some gear and whatnot. And then we have, your normal fishing challenges returning. However, there's a twist where instead of picking those up at the challenge board, like at the outposts, you'll actually find them throughout the reserve. Like, let's say you'll find a pond, and then you'll also find a mission there by the pond that you can like do right then and there. So it's sort of like you'll find missions and then be able to do them right away. And it also kind of creates kind of a fun loop where you're finding these all over. We also have a new type of mission called gear challenges. So these you'll find like other reserves, you'll find these on the challenge boards, like by the shop and by some of the other major locations. And these will challenge the player to catch fish of a certain rank and a certain species with a certain line strength. So basically they're going to be tough fights. Yeah, so those are quite fun. And then we have a mission kind of similar to the Golden Tour mission in GRR, with a bit of a twist. So you'll kind of take photos of different spots, and you'll get dialogue about the different spots you visit. And so I think there's about 10 spots in total all over the map. So it's a good way just to get familiar with all the different locations. And then we have collectibles returning with another little twist where we'll have paintings, because one of our NPCs is a painter. You'll find paintings around the map. You'll find food around the map, like little bowls of Spanish themed dishes and some figures and stuff. And for the paintings and the food, when you find those, they'll actually appear in the shop, which is actually like a restaurant in this case. It's like a restaurant / fishing shop. If you find a painting out in the world, you'll kind of see it appear around that area. So kind of just a nice fun thing that we added.
So it's almost like displaying your collectibles in a way, right? And it sounds like the mission setup in Spain is a little bit more, instead of like go to the outpost and to the board, it's more of there's a little extra discovery in it, whereas like you're naturally exploring and you check out this little pond and you might find something there. So it kind of encourages that. There's something else I noticed. So I mentioned that I played a little bit in Spain yesterday, and the first fish I caught was the common carp. And there was something different when I went to take a screenshot of my fish. And I know that you've spoken about this. I checked, so I wasn't going to be ambushing anybody or letting the cat out of the bag, but I know this has been mentioned. But what's different about maybe taking a screenshot of your catch from what people might have experienced so far in the angler?
Yeah, what we've done is we've added something called the trophy shot. So previously, when you catch your fish and you're there in the stat screen with the weight, the rank, and all that sort of stuff, you could just hide the UI, but largely it would frame the catch in just the same way. The new trophy shot, what it does, it gives you camera control and it gives you character control. So not only can you kind of reposition the camera anywhere around your avatar holding the fish, but you can also rotate your character as well. So this is actually quite handy for multiplayer, because there's a lot of circumstances in multiplayer previously, like especially on a boat, you're fishing with a friend and they're stuck behind you in the boat, and it's like, well, what have you caught? I can't see it. But now you can actually turn around and show them the fish. So with that, you can get some really cool screenshots now with your fish, and it's something that I want to keep developing and working on, so we can add more features and more control over this. But I think it's just a great way to enable some really cool screenshots, because the fish look great. Their environment, as you can see behind me, it looks fantastic, Spain. So I think we'll see some really cool images off the back of this.
I'm actually, I'm glad. I've noticed that too. When sometimes when you go fishing for legendaries, you'll get to a spot and there's like 4 people because everybody wants to catch the legendary, right? So you catch it in a specific spot, and then everyone flocks to exactly where you caught it, hoping that that exact spot's where they're going to catch it as well. And you're trying to take your screenshot, and they mean no harm, but people are in the shot. So that is, I think you mentioned it before, maybe vaguely, but I wanted to ask: will legendaries, I assume, are coming to Spain? Are they going to be coming soon? Are they going to be coming at a much later date? Do you have any information on that?
As with anything that's up and coming in the future, it's not something I'm going to say exactly when, but we are working on legendary fish. But it's one of those things that we don't actually want them day one in Spain. And that sounds odd, but the thing is, when you introduce to a new reserve, there's so many new activities, missions, and just all the new fish species to go out and catch. So ideally, we want to give you just a little bit of time to go out there, try and catch diamonds for all the new species, and then hopefully you will have, learned the reserve and understood where you might expect legendaries to spawn, and then we'll be introducing them.
You know what? That actually, it makes sense. It really does. You don't want people chasing the end game in the first day or two. You want to, the build up to that and the missions and the discovery that we talked about. So you launched with 1 reserve, Golden Ridge Reserve. We're now up to 3. We've seen overhauls to progression. We've seen overhauls to the economy. We've seen loads of new fish species added. The onboarding has been improved. I'm curious to maybe get you to comment on how far the Angler's come in that last year since it released, or a little more than a year. And also, are we at the peak of the mountain, or are we just scratching the surface of the Angler?
I think we are just scratching the surface. I'm really proud of the journey that we've been on. We've added so much, as you've just kind of given a fantastic summary of the number of changes, the amount of new content, and it really feels like we're getting into our stride now. We've since launched on console, of course, and that was a big objective for us to make sure that the broader audience can play it. So it's been fantastic being able to see console players on PlayStation and Xbox all play together on cross-play as well. And it's just been a fantastic reaction as well from the players. And there's so many new ideas, so much feedback, and we're desperate to try and react to that as quickly as possible. But we're also trying to plan out what's next in 2024, because we've got a lot of ideas ourselves. As the season pass kind of hints, there's another reserve already in production, so we'll be going to a new location at some point next year. So yeah, we've got lots of exciting plans, and hopefully all the players, everyone's going to stick around and enjoy the ride.
Why don't we have a Canadian reserve? And it's obviously kind of funny. And when can I have a Canadian reserve?
I would love to go to Canada. I think
you should.
One of the best ways to influence this is actually on our Discord community. So one of the things that we like to do is have that kind of feedback section where people can upvote each other's suggestions, and that really helps inform us where we might want to go next, because we don't just want to pick a location that we want to do. We want to try and pick a location that the community who are playing the game right now would like to go. Obviously, asking you guys now and then making it happen, there's a lead time with that. But yeah, I think that's a fantastic suggestion. And if people have other suggestions, then dive into our Discord and let us know where you want to go, what fish species you want to see, what new fishing techniques you want to play in the future, all these types of things. It's super handy that we could see your votes, and we can understand what you want to see next in the game.
And I may not have helped the case for a Canadian reserve there, but I think that's excellent because, like I said, I'm someone who actually plays the game fairly consistently, and the Discord, for anyone who may be watching this, it's a new player, I can't overstate it that that's probably one of the most helpful communities that I've been around in terms of like getting into the game. They've got the answers to your questions if you're not sure what to do. The player onboarding obviously is improved, and I played that myself again recently. But yeah, the Discord is actually a pretty fantastic place to get information and to be a part of the community, and they're there all the time. It's pretty great. So if somebody wants to dig into Spain in terms of they're watching this and they want to get the new reserve, how do they do that, and where can they find the Angler?
Well, you'll be able to play Spain on the Angler as of October 31st. It'll be available to purchase on the PlayStation Store, Steam Store, Xbox Store, Epic Game Store, and Windows Store. And I think they'll be like $9.99, €9.99, £9.99. I think consistently across those. So obviously, different currencies may change, but yeah, tomorrow it's exciting.
I'm looking forward to it. And thank you, Thomas, Rashi, so much for joining me today. I can't wait to talk to you guys in the future and see where we are then versus where we are today. So